We need to understand where our subscribers are at.
Yuval helps B Corps and personal brand owners get into bed with subscribers by getting them know better and turning them into fans, which is also her signature framework. She's also a full-time nomad and pasta person through and through.
How can we make it better? Why are you still here? How can we have a better conversation, a deeper conversation? What would make things fun?
Hey, I'm your host, Gabe Marusca with the Nomad Solopreneur show. Quick one before the episode starts. About 80% of you watching, you didn't hit that follow or subscribe button. If you get any value from this, if the stories we share and the learnings that you get from my guests help you or your business in any way, can you please do me a favor and hit that follow or subscribe button? It helps the show more than you can even imagine, and the bigger the show gets, the better the guest gets. Thank you so much and enjoy the episode. Hi Yuval, welcome to the Nomad Solopreneur show.
Hi Gabe, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. How Thailand is treating you?
Yeah, oh my goodness, it's been amazing 2 months, and it's a bit of a bittersweet moment that we're talking in because I'm about to head to Vietnam. I haven't been there in 9 years. Very much looking forward to being there, meeting some people that you know as well. And yeah, I'm very excited for what's coming up next, but I'm also kind of sad to leave, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things regarding this lifestyle that you kind of get attached to a place and then you have to leave, but you can always go back to it. But please let me know, who is it? Let me guess. Paul is back in Vietnam.
We are finally... Yeah. Let's see what the banter is like in real life. I don't think he's ready, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear. I never met him in real life either, so yeah, I'm curious about it. We never crossed paths yet. You guys go to Hanoi, Hoi An?
Yeah. I will go to Hoi An later on, but I'll start in Hanoi for a month.
Yeah, nice. I haven't been there. But you love Hoi An. Probably if you've been there before, you already know how beautiful that city is. It's just...
Apparently, I haven't been to the right parts of Hoi An, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the actual place, like the cool places in parts are like. Yeah, let's see. I mean, a lot of people from Thailand here in the community that I'm in, they're actually going to head over to Hoi An afterwards. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be familiar, and as you know, if and when you meet people that you know along the way and you like, which is a bonus, that makes your experience so much different. And yeah, I'm just very much looking forward to all of it.
Yeah, I bet. And a part of this, what you'll say are the other perks of being a digital nomad?
Oh, that's a good question, because usually people try to concentrate on the negative stuff. Obviously, the ability to really be free, really decide where it is that I want to be, avoid the winter, for example, or skip it altogether, or just seeing the world, which is, I think, kind of obvious, but it's actually not that obvious. Other perks. Right now, and this is going to sound very odd maybe to some of your listeners, right now I'm really enjoying working nights, which works really well for my US clients because it's their morning and my evening. So I just feel like nomad lifestyle is really bringing my A game on my own terms, honestly, and just having so much fun in the process.
Love that. And how do you structure in that sense the day?
It really depends. Yeah, I try to have my morning routine, which is waking up, having coffee. Nowadays, I glitched back to scrolling socials right after waking up. I don't recommend that. I don't like that. I'm trying to get rid of this. Doing my daily yoga, some kind of a workout, getting a cold shower when in Asia, right? And then starting my day. So my morning routine really grounds me, aside from the endless scrolling. And then, yeah, it depends. Depends on whether or not I have meetings, if I have deadlines. Yeah, I wish I could say that I explore a lot, but honestly, in the past couple of weeks at least, I don't explore that much. It has to do with the fact that I've been here for quite a bit by now. But I just very much listen to my body and to my brain, right? I found myself the other day just taking my scooter and driving all the way across the island and just having coffee somewhere and looking at the ocean for I don't know how long. And then just deciding, okay, time to go to work. Okay, crossing the island to the other side, starting to work at 5 p.m. People would be like, what are you doing here? We're going home. And I'll just say, my brain is just about to wake up. I just had a lovely coffee on the beach, So that's definitely a perk.
Yeah, and I think you literally describe that part, freedom of being a digital nomad, the freedom to choose when you work, how you structure your day, and so on. Doesn't necessarily have, I do work from 9 to 5, then I disconnect, and so on. And while that might be a dent in someone's routine, but if that works for you, that's amazing. And another thing that I notice is the fact that you're not too attached to the idea that I'm a digital nomad, I need to explore all the time, because those are some of the misunderstanding of this lifestyle, that we are on an explore mode all the time, when it's actually a lifestyle that you do almost all the normal things that you normally do in a normal lifestyle, with the perks of being in a new location almost the other month or 3 months or so on, and being able to explore that part of the world. But I know that you're not only a nomad, you're a sought after business owner, and running a business as a digital nomad can be quite a challenge. How did you balance that, and how did you become a business owner?
I became a business owner because I wanted to get back to what I loved and what I love the most, which is stories and people and writing. I started my professional career, so to speak, when I was not even 18. I was a journalist for 3 years. That was my army service because I grew up in Israel. That's mandatory. I would say, fortunate enough to be just a journalist in one of the biggest national radio stations in Israel that reaches half of the population every hour. And I was a radio reporter and news editor and whatnot. And that place was extremely toxic. So when I got out of there, I did not want to do anything to do with writing. I did not want to do anything to do with, getting paid for my brain. And I went to do something completely and entirely different, which is hospitality and gastronomy and food, which is one of the things that I love the most. And I've done that for 7 years. In between, I was traveling a bit. I moved continents. I settled in Berlin, where I lived for almost 7 years. And I just worked in cafes and restaurants and bars. And as much as I love food and hospitality, and as much as I've learned from all of my experiences, it's a very tough industry. It's a very tough industry. And a lot of the times, the owners are extremely stressed. And the terms are not very fair. Let's just put it this way. And right before the pandemic started, I had this itch of, I want to get back to writing stories, talking to people, get paid better for what my brain is capable of. And I opened my business on February 22nd, 2020.
What a moment.
And I remember it because of the 222. And then like 3 weeks later, COVID hit Berlin and everything needed to shut down and everyone was so depressed. And I just thought, ooh, I'm opening my business. I'm starting to do what I actually like. And it was a long process of trial and error. And yeah, I'm just so glad I've done this, because honestly, it taught me so much on a personal level. And I'm just so glad that I am now my own boss rather than other people who don't have my best interest in mind.
Yeah, and I think that's huge, because at the end of the day, it's a wild world out there and everyone is by themselves. And when you're able to work on your own thing, it's a totally different story. Of course, it comes with the challenges, the benefits, and so on. But at the end of the day, you put in the work for yourself. And what sparked the idea of entering this world again after all that you went through in your army service? You mentioned that there was a toxic environment there, and that might leave some marks. And in order to get back to doing the same work, but of course, in an entirely different environment, some challenges might occur. Any of those happening to you?
Oh, for sure. It's just me getting emotional already. A year into my business was growing fast, and I started having those panic attacks. I lived in a constant panic attack. I would go to sleep in a panic attack. I would wake up with a panic attack. I just couldn't breathe, or that's the feeling that I had. And I just talked to my best friend. I knew that she is going to therapy. And I asked her, is it possible that your therapist is actually also doing online sessions? And is she accepting new clients? And she said, let me check. I'll talk to her. A week later, I already met with her psychologist that then became my psychologist. And we unveiled a lot of stored trauma that I really held on to for nearly a decade, all remnants from my army days. And I think, in a sense, it's going to sound very weird, but in a sense, I'm very grateful that that happened when it happened, because then I was ready to accept help and I was willing to dig really deep and solve all of those traumas, or at least acknowledge them and work on them. So then I can carry on in my journey and carry on with my life. And in many ways, if it wasn't for therapy back then in 2021, I wouldn't have been here today talking with you.
Oh my, yeah, that's something. And I think asking for help at the right moment is so important, because a lot of us are dragging all those traumas with us for majority of our life without realizing, and we arrive at the point of breaking. And asking for help is such an underrated endeavor, and especially in today's world, like with all this crazy news going around, all those things happening in the world, it's a must for everyone. Like, we are bombarded not only with news, but with all this pressure of the society, of media companies that are, the biggest manipulators in this world. And it's crazy. And on that note, because I know that you have quite a unique approach to your business in approaching from an ethical point of view, an industry that is known for spamming people. How do you navigate that? And what's your ethical approach to email marketing?
In many ways, ethical email marketing is going back to basics. I'm not inventing anything new, right? I'm just using new technology to enable even deeper, better connection. Ethical email marketing is all about a conversation. As you've said yourself, this channel has been abused for decades by what I call bro marketers, people who are just blasting their audiences, people who are just buying lists of dozens of thousands or millions of people who never consented to hear from you. And my approach is a very human-centric approach rather than brand-centric approach, because people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And I think something there in the past couple of decades, it's changing now, I would say even rapidly in the past couple of years, but something got lost in the sauce, of we just forgot that this is a conversation. This is not me just shouting into the void and, hey, if you're interested in whatever it is that I have to offer and you have the money, then let's, pressure you endlessly, and then until you cave in and you buy. That's not how it works. People, especially after the pandemic, people want to be heard and want to be understood. Relationships, interpersonal connection is more important now than ever. And brands that embrace that approach, they see tremendous success, because it's not a brand just shouting at people and, hey, look at what I have done, or look at how great we are at what we do. It's actually all about, like, hey, this is what we have to offer, but let's start a conversation. Let's see how can we help, and let's see how can we also hyper personalize your own inbox experience and give you the power and empower you to make your own choices, so you'd stick around for parts of the journey. that's what it's all about. And I am so fortunate to be working with brands that understand that and embrace that and implement that and are seeing tremendous results out of that.
Yeah, that's the thing, because we are literally living, and I quote here, in a loneliness pandemic. And we are more disconnected than ever. Every single person is hiding behind the screen without that human connection. And even when we have to work behind the screen and we have to connect online with our clients, with our customers or friends, we need more human approach, a more personalized approach, not being blessed with targeted campaigns, AI campaigns that are getting better and more personalized and so on, but instead to have an actual conversation. And love to hear that you're doing that at that scale and how you arrived here. I would love to know, how do you actually validate that idea that it's a demand for what you're offering rather than just being another fish in the pond?
Sure. I think it's just a matter of testing it constantly and seeing the results. There's no better thing than having an idea, just spreading the word about it, seeing what the audience's response is like, and just running with it. And that's a part of the whole strategy. But then tweaking the tactics as you go, tweaking the strategy as a whole as we go. But it's coming from people. I mean, there is a reason why email marketing is one of the most profitable marketing channels out there for decades. So now it's just a matter of really just answering the demand and keep getting feedback from our subscribers and see what they are telling us or signaling us and catering to their needs.
And what would you say are the most important signals when it comes to identify potential flaws in your approach, especially when you look at your stats in your dashboard when it comes to your subscribers?
So I think click rate is, in some cases, very important to look at. Replies are very important to look at. And unsubscribers are very important to look at. Obviously, if you have a peak with unsubscribers, something is off, right? But again, revenue is also important. I'm mentioning it last. I know it's kind of funny, but you cannot really attribute revenue to one email or just to an email. Or I also like looking at things like clicks to conversion or all those very messy kind of stats that people don't even think of. I love that kind of data. But for your audience, I think it's very important in some cases, not all cases, and I can go into detail, but in some cases, clicks, replies, conversions, and replies are conversations. So clicks, conversions, and conversations.
And especially with replies, I would like to ask you, what will be a great way to get those replies? What will be that call to action? You usually, I assume, put it at the end of the email in order to get that feedback or to get someone to reply back to you.
So there are two ways to get feedback. One of them is, as you mentioned, to put it at the end. And another one that I absolutely love and that applies a lot to brands that are launching or post-launch, just sending a full email about feedback. Like, hey, what was it about? Why didn't you buy? Why did you buy? Learning about objections, using them in your future marketing. But in both cases, you have to make it stupidly easy to connect with you and give you feedback. No one wants to be clicking in your email and getting to this long ass feedback form that takes you 10 minutes to answer, especially if that form does not have an incentive at the end of it, like a gift card is something that a lot of brands are doing. So it needs to be worth their while. It needs to be stupidly easy to engage with. And again, if you're working on the relationships, the one-to-many relationships that you have with your subscribers, giving feedback and making it easy for them to give you feedback is a no-brainer.
And it still works because some of the newsletter that I'm subscribed to are using as well like a short 5-star review system in which you just rate that email. that still works, is still relevant, or it's an old approach?
No, it very much works. What I like to do with my clients that are choosing to do that is taking it one step further, which is basically whenever someone is clicking on one of those emojis or however many stars, you get to a very short feedback form of thank you so much for leaving, your feedback. Can you tell us more? Or is there anything else that we can do to improve that? And those forms, those hidden forms, are a gold mine of marketing materials that you can use not only in your emails, but across all of your marketing channels.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of emails, I know that you use the acronym FAN when it comes to the framework that you apply working with your clients. Can you expand on that? What does it mean and why it works?
Sure. So FAN stands for fun, activity-based segmenting, and then networking with your subscribers, with your audience. It's important because brands that are not having fun with their emails, it shows. It shows. And I'm seeing as a consumer, from the consumer side, when I'm not seeing fun emails, when I'm not having fun with the emails that I'm opening, I'm out, right? So it's important to have fun with your emails and not taking so damn seriously all the time. Activity-based segments are extremely important because that means that you can send the right email with the relevant message to the right people at the right time. And when you personalize the inbox experience like that, and when you send different messages to different audiences, when the timing is right for them, the results are much, much better. And networking with your audience is, wow, it's the most important thing in the world. How else would you know if your strategy is working, if your products are what your audience is after, if they want something more from you, if maybe they have suggestions for new services or new products, or even ways to help you with your marketing, even without them knowing. But getting to know yours deeply on a human level is fundamental for any kind of marketing nowadays, and especially email marketing.
That's interesting because I had this misconception at some point that going back to the first step, the fun part, that fun was, especially funny emails, was just about memes and stuff like that. But I assume that's not the case. And I would love to know how you added entertainment to an email.
There are so many ways to do that. It's bonkers. So fun could be memes. Fun could be the way that you write. Fun could be the stories that you tell to your subscribers. It could be, wow, so many different ways. Could be how you gamify the inbox experience for each and every subscriber, giving them the power to choose, okay, I want to see this email. I want to snooze those emails for a month. Fun could be, wow, there are so many different tactics to do that. It's just a matter of what is the brand's tone of voice and strategy, and how do they define fun, and how do their subscribers define fun, and then kind of meeting everyone in a sweet spot.
I have a challenge for you. Not sure if you're aware of, but the Nomad Solopreneur Show has a newsletter that goes with it. It's called the Nomad Solopreneur Letter. And at this point, I feel like it's not fun at all. I literally break down the episodes in that letter, and I have a structure and so on, but I don't have that fun element. And of course, since it's so tied to the episode, I might be a bit restrictive. I'm not sure if you have enough information at this point to give me at least one idea on how can I implement fun in the letter, but I'm open to hear.
First of all, I never have enough information. I love when podcast hosts are, giving me those challenges on air, because I just love thinking about those things. Truly, I don't know if someone is listening to me and just thinks that I'm being cynical about this. I'm not. I love this. I think that your audience holds the key. If I were you, I would just invite your top engagers with your emails to a schmoozing session, which is what I do with my top engagers. You can do it with a bunch of them all together. Just say, hey, I'm having a party. I would love to hear from you. I know that you engage with my emails constantly, and I would love just to hang out with you, for you to meet other people on the list. And I would love to know, what can I do to make things better for you? I think that could be really helpful. And not enough brands are doing this.
Yeah, true. And I know one person that is doing, not sure if you know Dennis Gillin with the Happy Accidents, and he's doing this monthly, I think, or twice a month, parties with the subscribers. And I think it's a really brilliant idea and it definitely works. Thank you so much for sharing that. And when it comes to the segmentation part, because I think there is the secret of everything when it comes to having a campaign that actually works. What will be the most important ways you can approach that? What will be the signals in order to start segmenting a newsletter list in order to have the best outcome?
So we need to understand where our subscribers are at. Tags are extremely important in that case, because when you are tagging people's either interest or something they have downloaded or something that they have purchased before, that would help you segment your list better. So for example, let's say you are a B Corp brand that you have some kind of a freebie or some kind of a discount when people are signing up. People who have used that discount and bought in the first couple of days, weeks, months, they will have a tag saying something like, use the coupon code, right? Which may indicate on their intent or their interest, or maybe the products that they bought, right, with that coupon code, or regardless. So then we can tailor the suggestions in the following emails, what they can be interested in. It would be, I would say, even rather silly to offer them the same product right away in a follow-up email. And that's something that a lot of brands don't understand how to do. We need to meet our subscribers at their intent level, where they are, again, in their inbox journey. Someone who has bought from you once needs a different approach and a different treatment than someone who has never bought from you, is never engaging supposedly with your emails, or, and sometimes it comes down to the tech even. If you're launching during Black Friday, for example, and you want to gamify and personalize your entire promo emails, what you can do is you can let people the option to snooze or opt out of the automated sequence. So if they're not interested in what you have to offer, they just click and get out of the automated sequence. And that also tells you that they're either not interested in the product, and obviously after they opt out, feedback form. Again, it's all connected. But maybe they're not interested in the product. Maybe they're overwhelmed by all of the sales in their email inbox right now. So just look for the signals of how people are interacting with your brand, and tag strategically according to the activity that your subscribers are, what would I say here, behaving according to, or just performing on your website or in your email, and then make sure to put them in the right segment. Because again, different people have different expectations from your brand, and therefore they need to get a much more personalized approach in their inbox. And that is actually the secret to having a successful sales email.
I love how tactical this discussion became. And yeah, I truly believe that is the case, especially because, as we mentioned at the beginning, we are flooded with so many emails, with so many information. And if you are able to build that relationship with your subscribers in order to stay with you for a while, even as you mentioned, after they purchase, you might have a different product, a better service, or something for them that might be able to get at a certain point. But if you continue to just promote those products to them without actually personalized experience, giving something as well, not just asking, that's underrated. And What other mistakes, apart from this of pushing products and sales all the time, are you seeing in the industry?
Let me just think or mention a few things that I've seen in my inbox in the past 2
Please.
weeks. One brand that comes to mind is a brand that I bought from maybe 2 years ago, and I enjoyed the product. It was a kitchen appliances kind of product. I love anything to do with food, as I mentioned. And I got a post-purchase sequence, which is a standard thing of, what to expect. How can you use the product to the best of your ability? How can you take care of your new product so it can last longer and have a longer shelf life? I'm not sure if that's the right term. Never mind. But basically, they sent me this thing and then they disappeared up until 2 weeks ago, when I suppose I haven't checked that. It's a good reminder. I reckon they have someone new in the marketing department. Maybe they finally have a life cycle marketing executive, or maybe they have a new CMO who's just, very stubborn about, we need to send emails to our subscribers. And I started getting daily and sometimes twice a day just emails from them, which are, by the way, good emails, good nurturing emails. They're not trying to force any kind of sale. It's kind of very suggestive at the end of like, here's how you can buy these products that we're talking about. So that approach is actually great, but I haven't heard from this brand for 2 years almost. And brands that disappear, I love talking about relationships in that regard, or friendships even, because a friend that disappears from your life and then they come back and they start talking to you every day, you would be very suspicious of that, because it's very obvious that they need something from you. And they need something from you is either your time and attention, or your energy, or your money, or a combination of all of them. And I always say, people invest time and energy before they invest in your brand. We cannot take this for granted. Disappearing from their inbox and then just springing back with daily emails that I never opted into. Mind you, I just bought a product once. That's not the right approach. And brands that think that they can neglect their subscribers and then come back as if nothing happened and continue blasting them with emails that are not necessarily relevant to where their subscribers are in their inbox journey is a big no. So that's one thing. But other things that I'm seeing that are mistakes in the inbox are all kinds of like just sleazy tactics. Using "re" in the subject line is still something that I'm seeing all the time. And I just think it's disrespectful to your subscribers, and I don't think anyone needs to do that. Or forward. Yeah, the "re" and "forward" still tactics that are used, and people are falling for that. Personally, I am not a huge fan of countdown timers, like big, bold, kind of like buy now or forever, hold your peas. Yeah, I just don't think for certain audiences it does work. Let's just put it out there. But if we are talking about respecting your clients and your customers and making sure that we're talking to them on a human level without pressure, just offering what we have in store and want their best interest in mind, then I personally would not use that kind of tactic if it was up to me completely and entirely. These are just a few, but there are so many tactics and strategies that are used still in email marketing. And I just firmly believe that something needs to change seriously in the approach of how brands think of email marketing for their brands, especially when it comes to brands that I'm working with, right? B Corps that are trying to create and leave the world, create impact and leave the world a better place than where and how they found it.
Yeah, true. That's the thing. There are so many tactics that are just not only old school approaches, but markets change. You cannot just use the same tactic that used to work 10 years ago now. And going back to your business and your work, I know that you kind of pivot this year from done for you work with done with you. What sparked that change, and how, if you can share the stages that you went as a business owner?
It's fascinating because it started with my email mentoring program more than a year ago. And I just really loved the whole teaching approach and seeing how by giving business owners the tools to do it themselves, that the ripple effect that this program has had on so many businesses around the world is I am thinking about it now and my mind is blown. And then I found out about this whole B Corps approach and, certification and world, and it really felt very much aligned. And I thought, I can write the emails for them. I can create the strategy for them. I can do it. I still, in some cases, I still do, just to be fully transparent. But at the same time, when you really think of how much impact I can create as a person with limited time, like all of us, I thought about it on a greater scale. And I met with someone a few months back, or maybe it was more than a few months by now. And she told me, you know what? I just don't understand how you, with, this deep desire to leave the world a better place than how you found it, why are you limiting yourself to just a handful of clients where you can just teach brands how to do that? Brands that already have their writers and their marketers. Why don't you just go in and just help them do what they are already doing, but better? And I thought about it, that meeting really left me kind of confused and maybe a little bit afraid, but that's the kind of fear that didn't feel like, how would I describe it? It wasn't a fear that was scary. It was fear of, wow, this could be something. There's something in it. There's something here that I need to understand deeper. And I slept on it and I woke up the next morning and I thought, you know what? I need to go into those companies that I want to work with. And I need to help them do things better because they know they need to do better. So it's just a matter of showing them the ropes and letting them do what they do best, just from a different perspective. And that's how I can make sure that I don't just work with 5 brands a year or something like that. I can work with 15. And that means that I can just basically take this approach, the fan framework, and spread it across a rather small community. There are not that many B Corps out there, less than 8,000 to date. And just make sure that brands that already care about what they're doing so much, that whole approach, that, caring for their audiences resonates throughout all of their marketing channels and specifically email marketing.
Nice, love that. And I think you went through a natural transition because a lot of people are starting the way you did, but they got stuck there, me including. I'm stuck in that position that I was many years ago. From all those B Corps that you are targeting, if some of those founders are listening to us now, can you tell them who should reach out to you and who not?
That's a very interesting question because I feel like B Corps leaders and I are in the same boat and on the same wavelength. So in a sense, even if we won't end up working together, even if I have nothing to give them, right? Or no way to help them, I would love to hear from them because I truly believe that brands that are going through the whole certification process and believe that it's worthy for them to go through the hassle of getting certified, these are my kind of people. I don't really believe that, anything worthy is necessarily easy. I mean, some things are, but most things are not, entrepreneurship included. And people who are going after B Corps and want to get certified are people who appreciate the long haul rather than the quick wins, and appreciate the quick wins, but it's more about running a marathon, not a sprint. I would love to hear from them, period.
Nice. And where they can reach you?
LinkedIn, if I'm not blocked by the time that this episode is being released, because of course, social media cannot be trusted. I'm having a lot of fun on Threads under the username Ethical Emails, or my email list, which is where you actually get my best stuff. You can join at ackermancopywriting.com/subscribe.
Nice. And of course, I'll put the links in the show notes as well. Do you have any full-time employees? Solopreneur. Yes.
Yes.
What are the exact services that you offer? Mentorship, done with them, any other?
So alongside my impact spectrum, I have Done With You, which is my email mentoring program, Email Muscles. I have the Email Muscles VIP, which is one-to-one, but the same program. I have a Done For You, and I have a Done With You, which is my consultancy retainer for B Corps.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing that. Do you use, of course you use, because technology is so important for email marketing. What kind of tools do you use on a daily basis?
I love Google Docs. I love things like Grammarly and Hemingway. What else in terms of tech? My own email service provider, which I will not name because I'm trashing them too much. And of course, if you're interested in hearing which one I'm using, just reach out. I'm hoping to migrate from them soon. What else? I have my CRM. I have my inbox. Obviously, I live in my inbox. What else? I feel like
AI tool?
Yeah, AI, Fathom. Fathom is big. I love Fathom. They also have an implemented consent feature, which I think is so good. Someone is recording the conversation and you join the conversation on their Fathom. They can just send you an email a day before. Hey, so-and-so wants to record our conversation or your conversation with them. Do you consent to being recorded, and do you want to have the recording sent to you? I think that's fabulous, and that's exactly the kind of approach that I'm preaching for. I sometimes use Otter, but Fathom is so much better.
Those are great ones. Indeed, this is something that a lot of those listening should pay attention to, because recording conversation nowadays is so normal, but at the end of the day, you need to have that consent. Otherwise, you can get in trouble, especially when you work with big companies. Thank you so much for sharing that. And before wrapping up, I would like to ask you one action item those listening can take in, let's say, less than 1 week in order to start building an email list.
Talk with your ideal clients. Ask your ideal clients and past ideal clients what could be useful. Come up with this freebie. Start talking about this and invite people in. That's
Nice. Thank you so much. And I love how tactical the conversation was. I truly believe those listening will get a lot of golden nuggets from here to apply into their own marketing strategy.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You, yes, you. You're one of the few that stick to the end. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing so. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so below. And if you got any value from this, please share it with a friend. They might got some value from it as well. Thank you so much, and until next week, Pura Vida!